Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are talking about something huge. Google AI just dropped not one, but two major releases at the same time, and they're both poised to completely change the game. We're going to get into a new way for AI to think, like really think, and a way for it to build entire interactive worlds basically out of thin air. All right, let's get right into it.
We're all pretty used to the AI race being about speed. Who can spit out an answer the fastest? But what if that's not the right question? What if the real breakthrough isn't about being faster, but about being deeper? Imagine an AI that doesn't just give you the first answer it finds, but actually deliberates, considers different angles, weighs the options, and reasons its way through a really tough problem, kind of like a human expert would. Well, that's the exact problem Google's tackling first.
So, meet Gemini 2.5 DeepThink. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like hitting a turbo mode on the Gemini AI. So instead of just firing off a quick response, DeepThink basically gets permission to use more horsepower, to extend its thinking time and really dig deep into problems that need more than just a surface-level answer.
So how does this turbo mode even work? Well, the process is what's so fascinating. It isn't just one thought moving in a straight line. First, DeepThink just explodes with ideas. It generates a whole bunch of different potential solutions all at the same time. Then, it gets critical. It starts revising those ideas, weighing them against each other, looking for the strongest path. And finally, after all that, it pulls the best pieces together to build a much stronger, more well-reasoned answer. It's less like a calculator and way more like a high-powered brainstorming session with a team of experts.
Okay, so what does deeper actually mean when you're using it? Well, it means the model is built to follow these long, complicated chains of thought. And get this, it can actually use tools. It can run a piece of code to see if its logic works, or it can use Google Search to pull in new information it needs. Because of this, it can write out these incredibly detailed, step-by-step answers, which makes it perfect for really hard stuff like advanced mathematics and complex coding problems.
And here's the proof that it actually works. This chart shows its performance on the International Mathematical Olympiad benchmark, which is a notoriously brutal test for humans, let alone AI. You can see standard models really don't get very far. But the version of DeepThink that's out in the app right now, it's already performing at a bronze medal level. And the full-on research model they're working on, it hit a gold standard. That's a massive deal. It shows how much potential this whole deeper reasoning thing has.
Of course, the big practical question is how do you get it and what's it going to cost? Well, right now, access to DeepThink is bundled into the Google AI Ultra subscription, and that's the price tag. It's also worth noting that for now, you get a limited number of DeepThink prompts each day, so it's really being positioned as this specialized tool you pull out for your absolute toughest challenges.
Okay, so we have this incredibly powerful new AI brain that can think in these complex new ways, but what good is a brain, no matter how smart, if it doesn't have a world to explore, a place to test its ideas and actually interact with things? And that, right there, brings us to the second and equally mind-blowing release from Google.
And this is Gemini 3. It's what the researchers call a world model, and it's wild. You give it a simple text prompt, something like a whimsical cartoon forest with a glowing river, and it doesn't just make a picture. It generates an entire interactive, playable 3D environment from scratch. It's like an AI-powered holodeck, a sandbox that it builds for you on the spot.
And to really get why Gemini 3 is such a huge deal, you just have to look at the last version. Gemini 2 could whip up an interactive scene, sure, but it would kind of fall apart after maybe 10 or 20 seconds. Gemini 3, it pushes that to several minutes of continuous, stable interaction. That leap from seconds to minutes is a total game changer for making these worlds feel genuinely real and explorable.
And it's the features here that really make these worlds feel alive. It's rendering in real time. It has what they call emergent visual memory, which basically means if you go and paint something on a wall, and then you walk away and come back, the paint is still there. The world remembers. You can even prompt changes into existence, like add a thunderstorm or make a friendly robot appear, and the whole environment just dynamically evolves. This quote from The Verge just nails it. Think about this for a second. Normally, to create a 3D world for a game or a simulation, you have teams of artists and developers spending months, even years, painstakingly building every single object. Here, the
The entire interactive world is just generated instantly by an AI. And this brings us right back to that core idea. We've come full circle. We have deep think, the powerful reasoning brain, and now we have Genie 3, the dynamic, explorable world. So, what happens when you put these two things together?
This is where it all clicks, and things get truly transformative. You could use Genie 3 to instantly spin up a complex virtual world, and then use DeepThink as the brain to test a complex algorithm inside of it. Imagine training an AI agent not just on boring data sets, but by having it reason and act and learn inside a simulated reality. You could prototype video game ideas, create interactive history lessons where students can actually walk around, or design incredibly complex systems, all before a single developer has to write a line of real code.
Okay, let's bring it back to Earth for a second with a quick reality check. As we said, DeepThink is only available through that pretty expensive Ultra subscription, and you get limited uses per day. It also, apparently, has a habit of being a bit too cautious and refusing to answer things it probably should. And Gemini 3? That's even more exclusive right now, only available to a small handful of researchers. Plus, those worlds still start getting a little unstable after a few minutes. So yeah, this is the absolute cutting edge, but it's very much still early days.
Now, with tools this powerful, you have to talk about safety, right? And Google seems to be taking it pretty seriously. They've put out detailed model cards so everyone can see what these models are good at and what they're not. They're doing constant safety testing on DeepThink, and that's why access to Genie 3 is so tightly controlled for now. It's all about trying to roll this out responsibly and watch for ways it could be misused.
So what can you actually do right now? Well, if you happen to be a Google AI Ultra subscriber, you can go test DeepThink today. Throw some really gnarly math proofs or coding puzzles at it in the Gemini app and just see what it does. For all the developers out there, the thing to do is keep your eyes peeled for the Gemini API Trusted Tester program. That's going to be the gateway for getting this power into your own apps and projects.
Which really just leaves us with one final, massive question. We're stepping into a new phase here. AI is no longer just a search engine or a text generator. It's becoming a partner in creation, a simulator of reality. So when an AI can build its own worlds from scratch, and then think deeply to solve problems inside those worlds, it really makes you stop and ask, what on earth comes next?